Sean, it's senior night. How do you approach that in terms of, thanking those guys for their contributions?
Yeah, senior night today isn't what it used to be for obvious reasons, because back, I wouldn't say not too long ago, but you go back 10 years, you had everybody that's going to stay for 4 years, or virtually everybody, and, you've coached them for 4 years, you've recruited them, you've gotten to know them, and here they are down the home stretch, not only getting ready to get their college degree, but playing their last ever game in college, and with so much turnover throughout college basketball and a lot of people not being in a place for 4 years, I think that, not just for Xavier, but everywhere, senior day, senior night is a little bit different. But I think in our case, we always want to reward those that, are never going to play another home game for us again, and also reward them for doing things the right way. And, in Sule, in AK's case, and then you throw Jack in there, you have 3 players that didn't start at Xavier in the traditional sense, but they've all done just a great job representing our program, this university, and academically they've done a tremendous job in each of their own respective ways. And when they leave here, I have no doubt that we'll be very proud of them, following the remainder of their career. So I know that's kind of a long-winded answer, but I think every head coach feels the way I feel to some degree, in that, just think about those that are being honored. They didn't come here from their traditional high school, and we're not watching them in their 4th year. So, but they've done a lot. And for me, just embracing a new coach, a new coaching staff, embracing change almost across the board, and really buying into what we're doing. And on this year's team, really being I think the core of the leadership group that's really allowed us to have the season we've had so far.
Where do things stand with Zach? Is he going to practice today? Is the hope that he might be able to play a little bit tomorrow?
We I think we hold an outside hope that he potentially could play tomorrow. We don't know that yet. We're kind of taking it one day at a time. I think when this weekend ends, though, and we get into early next week, either prior to the Big East tournament or right there midweek of the Big East tournament, I think we'll really have our final answer.
You have talked multiple times about the Butler game, how that wasn't the kind of performance you expected from your team, you wanted from your team. The beauty of college basketball and a conference schedule, you get another chance. How much are you looking forward, is this team looking forward to another opportunity to go up against a rival?
Yeah, first things first, our Butler game, for us, to take the disposition that we weren't ready, then you're actually not giving Butler any credit. And my comments are far from that. When we played Butler, they were ready to go. They played with great effort level. The crowd was amped up. They had a really good game plan. They followed the game plan. Somebody, like Bates, he was 9 for 10 from the field and had 5 shot blocks and switched every pick and roll for 40 minutes. He's a center. He guarded Sule Boom, Adam Kunkel, Desmond Claude, Colby Jones, Jerome Hunter, and Jack Nungy. He guarded every player on our team, went 9 for 10 from the field, and had 5 blocks. That was as good of a performance as we faced all season long. Taylor, their guard, has really improved. Right now, he's one of the hottest players in the Big East Conference. If you follow him, his scoring ability, he had really, in essence, the game winner. I know that Hunter went and, on the last play, scored the ball, but Taylor's just and one on a straight line drive a little bit earlier was the difference in the game, but he had 20 points. So, Taylor and Bates got us for roughly 40 points. Their defense was outstanding. They have a great coach. Thad, this isn't his first time around the block. He's coached in many, many big games. He's had a ton of teams. They're disciplined. They know what they're doing on offense and defense. My point is this, we have to be ready to play. In that game, if you at all aren't at our best, we got what we deserved. So I believe that Butler has great team quickness. They're a very good defensive team. Their struggles, in large part, as I see it, are because they've had as many injuries as anybody. They go a couple games and then a starter goes out, and then they go 2 weeks and the starter's not in, and then another guy goes out. I don't know if they've had their full cast one time. And looking at our schedule, I feel like they're going to have their full cast against us. The last time we played them, Chuck Harris didn't play. So I believe this. I think Butler is a very, very dangerous team. I think they're a good team. I think it's going to be one heck of a game. I think the game's going to come down to the final 4 minutes, a lot like the games that we've played this year. Marquette at home, Creighton at home, Villanova at home, Seton Hall at home. You think about it, out of the 10 or 9 Big East Conference games we played at home, I think 7 of them have come down to the final possession. And I look at tomorrow's game as being that type of game because of their discipline, their defense, and their coach. So we have to be ready to go. Where I'm so disappointed in that first game, even to this day, is I know for a fact that we weren't at our best. And the reasons behind that are something that we have to learn from. But if we're not at our best tomorrow at 7 because we feel really good about ourselves, having beaten Providence on the road, we'll be in for a rude awakening on how our season ends. So I expect a really tough game. We have a lot of respect for Butler.
When you say at your best, your team has put together 2 really good wins your last 2 games. Do you feel like your team is starting to trend towards your best here at the most important time of the year?
Because of our second half performance against Villanova at home, in which we had more than 10 turnovers in one half, and the way that felt, I thought it led to us being incredibly dialed in the next really 2 games, at Seton Hall and at Providence. We gave great effort. We played really well. If we would have lost either of those 2 games, that had really little to do with our preparation or our awareness or how hard we played the game with effort. We just lost to a better team on that night. And that happens, especially in this conference. So now we have the opposite. Coming off of those 2 wins, coming back home, and this being the last game of the year, our disposition, how alert we are, how ready we are, I feel like how our crowd is revved up is really important because as we've learned in our conference, the difference between winning and losing sometimes comes down to a couple plays. And I believe that the team we're getting ready to play here tomorrow is that type of team.
What's it like coaching against a guy who essentially has had a really large role in your career?
Yeah, I don't enjoy coaching against Thad. Before we've kind of come back to our respective places, the only time we faced each other was in the tournament. And the good and the bad of that was once that game ended, your season was over. And if you lose to anyone, why not lose to somebody that you like, that you really care about? At least his team advanced. This isn't under those circumstances. Now we're in the same conference, but I don't enjoy coaching against them at all. That and my relationship really transcend where we're at right now. It's way more than him being the coach at Butler and me being the coach at Xavier. I have a lot of love for him. I've known him forever. And think the world of him as a person. So that's really where I stand. When you have those types of feelings, and then you're faced with having to compete against each other, it's not like it's any less important, but it just it's mixed. And so I'm looking forward to the game ending.
When you guys practice, you track everything. There are penalties for turnovers in practice. What's the penalty when the coach commits a turnover in a game?
That's a first. Yeah, that's on me. Sule Boom should not have gotten that turnover. That's on me. I should have refused his handshake there. But I guess by the letter of the law, it was a great call. It was. But I won't do that again. I learned my lesson.